Why did his lawyer have screenshots, dates, and calm answers when I thought I controlled the story? What did he do quietly for months that made the judge look at me like I was the problem? My name is Araminta Gower, but everyone called me Minty. I was 34 and I worked in marketing for a software company. People liked me because I smiled fast and I spoke like I knew what I wanted. I told myself I was a loyal wife. I told myself I was also a tired woman who deserved air. Ethan was my husband. He was 36. He worked as a city building inspector. He checked stairs, rails, fire doors, small things that mattered. He was quiet at home too. He did not shout. He did not slam doors. That should have felt safe. For me, it felt like a wall. That morning, the kitchen smelled like coffee and toast. The kids were at the table. Nora was 8 and Jacob was 5. Nora ate slow and watched faces. Jacob asked for more jam and more stories. Ethan stood by the sink, rinsing cups like he had all the time in the world. He asked if I could do school drop-off because he had an early site visit. I said I had a morning meeting and I could not. He asked what time my meeting started. I said it was early and I needed to leave soon. It was not a lie, not exactly. I did have work. I also had other plans and I did not call them plans. I called them breathing. Ethan looked at the kids and asked if they had packed their folders. Nora said yes, and Jacob said he forgot his hat. Ethan found the hat. He always found the hat. He did it like it proved something about him. I hated that it worked. I told Ethan he made the house heavy. I said his face always looked like he was about to judge me. He asked what he did wrong. I said he did not need to do one thing wrong because he ruined my life in a slow way. I watched his eyes change, but he did not argue back. He only nodded once, like he was saving my words in a place I could not reach. Nora asked why we were talking like that. I said grown-ups had stress, and it was not her job. Ethan told Nora it was okay, and asked her to finish breakfast. I told myself Ethan always played the calm hero. I told myself he liked looking good. When Ethan left with the kids, the house became quiet, in a way I liked. I checked my phone. I had one new message. It was from Miles Kerr. He worked with a vendor team we used for events. He did not work in my company, but he was around it, which felt safe. His message said he was near my office and he had time. I stared at the words and felt my chest lift. I told myself it was normal to want attention. I told myself Ethan had trained me to look for warmth somewhere else. That is what I thought then. I still think I was right in that moment, even if people hate me for it. I typed back fast and told Miles I might be late. Then I deleted the message thread preview so it would not sit on my lock screen. I told myself I was not hiding. I told myself I was being smart. There is a difference, I said in my head. At work, the open office was bright and loud. People talked about end-of-year goals and holiday plans. My manager, Carmen, walked past and asked if I could send the updated deck before lunch. I said yes, and I meant it. I could do the deck. I could also do 1,000 other things at once. That was my gift. That was also my excuse. I sat down and opened my laptop. I had a spreadsheet from last week still open. Numbers made me feel in control. I liked control. Ethan had control too, but his control was quiet and steady, and I hated it more. Carmen came back and asked if I was okay because I looked tired. I said I had family stuff, and I laughed like it was a joke. She said she understood and asked if I needed time. I said no, because I did not want pity. I wanted admiration. At mid-morning, my phone buzzed again. Miles asked if I was coming down. I looked around to see who could see my face. I turned my phone over. My coworker Talia, who was also my friend, rolled her chair close. She asked what was going on at home. I said Ethan was acting like a victim again. She asked what he did. I said he acted like my happiness was my problem and I was tired of it. Talia made a sad face and told me I deserved better. She said Ethan sounded like a man who wanted a wife but not a real person. I nodded and felt relief. I loved that relief. It felt like proof. At lunch, I told Carmen I had a quick client call and I needed to step out. Carmen said okay. I walked to the elevator with my phone in my hand. My heart beat fast like I was doing something brave. I told myself I was not cheating. I told myself I was finding myself. The words sounded clean when I said them inside. In the lobby, I checked my reflection in the glass. I fixed my hair. I did not wear anything wild. I did not want to look guilty. I wanted to look normal. Miles was waiting outside near the coffee stand. He smiled like we had a shared secret. He asked if I had time. I said I had 15 minutes and I had a lot on my mind. He asked what Ethan did now. I said Ethan always made me feel small. I told Miles Ethan treated me like a problem he had to manage. Miles said I deserved someone who saw my value. He did not say Ethan was bad in a direct way. He did not need to. I filled in the rest for him. We talked too close. That is all I will say. It was enough. It was the kind of closeness that made me feel chosen. When I went back upstairs, my cheeks were warm. I drank water and told myself it was because the office was dry. Later, Ethan texted and asked if I could pick up the kids after work. I said I had to stay late, and I would try. He asked why I had to stay late again. I said projects did not care about family schedules. He replied with one short message that said, okay. That okay bothered me. It felt like he did not fight for me. It felt like he did not care. I wanted him to chase me, to demand me, to prove something. Instead, he was quiet. When I got home, the kids were already washed and in pajamas. Ethan stood at the counter cutting fruit. There were 2 mugs on the counter, spaced apart like they belonged to strangers. He asked if I ate. I said I grabbed something at work. He asked what I grabbed. I said it did not matter. He asked if we could talk after bedtime. I said we talked all the time and nothing changed because he refused to listen. He said he did listen, and he wanted specifics. I said he was twisting my words into a list, like he always did. He looked at me for a long second, then his phone lit up. I saw a calendar alert on the screen for a moment. I did not read the full title, but I saw a place name and a time. Ethan flipped the phone face down fast and went back to cutting fruit. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself it was work. Still, a cold line moved through my stomach, like a door in my mind had opened a crack. I watched Ethan's hands. They were steady. That steadiness used to feel boring. That night, it felt like a warning I did not understand yet. The next day, I woke up with a hard feeling in my throat, like I had swallowed a stone. Ethan moved around the house like a polite stranger. He did breakfast, packed lunches, and checked the weather on his phone. He asked Nora if she had her library book. She said yes. He asked Jacob if he wanted the red sneakers. Jacob said yes. Ethan smiled at them, and it looked real. I told myself he was acting. I told myself he wanted to look like the perfect dad so I would feel guilty. That was my first trick on myself. I did it without thinking. When I walked into the kitchen, Ethan asked if I wanted coffee. I said no, because I did not want anything from him. He asked if we could talk later about bills. I said he cared more about numbers than feelings. He said bills were still real, even when feelings were loud. I rolled my eyes and told him he was proving my point. At work, I kept checking my phone. Miles sent a short message and asked if I was okay. I said I was fine but tired. He asked if Ethan understood me yet. I said Ethan never understood anyone but himself. Miles replied with a laughing emoji and told me I deserved a break. Around noon, Talia leaned over my desk and asked if I was coming out that night. She said the rooftop bar was doing a winter lights thing, and it would be good content. I said I might go. She asked if Ethan would let me. I laughed and said he was not my boss. That little line pleased me. It made me feel strong. It also made me feel safe to be mean. After work, I drove home and changed fast. I did not dress in a wild way, but I dressed like I wanted to be looked at. Ethan saw me at the hallway mirror. He asked where I was going. I said I was meeting friends and I needed space. He asked if it could wait until the weekend. I said he always tried to control my time. He said he was asking because it was a school night. I said the kids were fine, and he was dramatic. He asked what time I would be back. I said I did not know, and I did not want to report to him. He nodded once and said, okay. Then he asked if I could put gas in the car tomorrow because it was low. I said he was changing the subject to punish me. He said he only noticed the gauge. I walked out before he could finish, in the elevator of the rooftop bar building. I checked my phone again. Miles had sent another message and asked if I wanted him to come by later. I did not answer right away. I told myself it was not necessary to answer right away. I told myself I was in control. The rooftop was busy, warm heaters blowing air that smelled like metal and smoke. People took photos with the city lights behind them. Talia waved me over, and Daisy was there too. Daisy asked if Ethan was behaving. I said he was acting like a sad martyr. Talia asked what he did this time. I said he looked at me like I was wrong for wanting to enjoy my life. Daisy told me I should not let him make me small. Talia said men like Ethan like to drain women and call it stability. I nodded and felt supported. The support felt like oxygen. Talia took pictures and asked me to pose. I did. She asked if she could tag Ethan as a joke. I said yes, because I wanted him to see I had fun without him. I wanted him to feel left out. I told myself it was fair because he left me out of happiness first. Later, Ethan texted and asked if I was safe. I did not answer for a while. When I did, I told him I was fine, and he needed to stop hovering. He replied with another short message that said, okay. That okay again. It made me mad. It also made me nervous. I told myself it was a tactic. I told myself he wanted me to explode so he could point at me later and say I was unstable. That idea came easily to me, like my brain liked fear better than truth. As the night went on, I drank more than I planned. Daisy asked if I missed Ethan at all. I said I missed the version of him from years ago, before he got boring and critical. Talia asked if I ever thought of leaving. I said I had thought about it a lot, but I had to be smart. That word, smart, made me feel like I was planning, not betraying. When I went to the restroom, I saw my face in the mirror. My eyes were bright. I looked alive. I told myself that was proof I was doing the right thing. I did not think about the kids' lunchboxes or Ethan's steady hands cutting fruit. I thought about myself. Miles showed up around 10. I did not invite him openly, but I had hinted enough. He walked in like he belonged near me. He asked if I was okay. I said I was finally breathing. He asked if Ethan knew how lucky he was. I said Ethan did not see value until it left him. Miles offered to walk me to my car later. I said yes. I told myself it was just polite. I told myself I deserved politeness. When the bar started clearing, we went down to the parking garage. The lights were harsh, and the air smelled like concrete. Miles asked if I wanted to sit in his car for a minute because it was cold. I said just a minute. He asked what I wanted from my life. I said I wanted peace, and I wanted someone who did not make me feel guilty for existing. He asked if Ethan ever apologized. I said Ethan never apologized. He only explained. Miles shook his head like he was disappointed in Ethan. That disappointment felt like comfort. I got into my own car after that. Miles asked if I would text when I got home. I said I would. I drove with the radio low and my mind loud. At home, the driveway was dark. Ethan had left the porch light on. I walked in and heard a low humming sound from inside the house, like a machine working. Ethan was not in the living room. The kids were asleep. I followed the sound toward the small office corner near the hallway. Ethan stood by the desk. He had the shredder on. He fed paper into it slowly. He looked up when I came close. He asked if I had fun. I said yes, and I said he should not ask like he cared. He said he did care, and he wanted me safe. I looked at the shredded strips in the bin. I asked what he was shredding. He said old receipts and junk mail. I asked why he was doing it at night. He said he could not sleep. I told him he could not sleep because he was always tense. He asked if we could talk in the morning when we were calm. I said he was never calm, he only pretended. Then I saw a folder on the counter behind him. The tab had one word written neatly: bank. I stared at it longer than I meant to. Ethan noticed. He picked it up and slid it into a drawer with a soft click. I asked why he was hiding things. He said he was not hiding, he was organizing. I told him organizing was his excuse to control. He said he was trying to be responsible. I went toward the bedroom and stopped in the hallway. I heard the drawer close again, firm and final. In the quiet, I noticed something else too. Ethan's phone buzzed once, and he did not check it in front of me. He just put it in his pocket. I stood there and told myself I was still the good person. I told myself Ethan was doing something strange, and strange meant guilty. I clung to that thought because it made my own choices feel smaller. The weekend came with a fundraiser at the community hall, the kind of event where everyone wore clean smiles and held paper cups. I told myself it was good for the kids and good for our image. I also told myself it was my stage. If people saw me as the strong one, then I would feel strong. That morning, Ethan made pancakes. He asked Nora how she wanted hers. She said she wanted a small one shaped like a heart. He tried. Jacob laughed and said it looked like a cloud. Ethan smiled and said it was a cloud heart. I watched them and felt annoyed, like his calm was stealing attention from me. Ethan asked if I wanted to come to school pickup later since he had to stop by a site. I said I could, but I said it like I was doing him a favor. He asked if we could talk after the fundraiser about the monthly budget. I said he always used money to trap me. He said he only wanted a plan. I said his plans were cages. He did not raise his voice. He only nodded and said he understood I felt that way. When he said that, it made me angrier. It sounded like he was writing down my feelings as data. At the school pickup line, it was cold and bright. Cars crawled forward in small steps. Parents leaned out windows and waved. I parked and waited. I checked my phone, then I put it away quickly when I saw another mom glance over. I told myself everyone watched me because I was interesting. I did not let myself think they watched because I was messy. Nora came out first with her backpack tight on her shoulders. Jacob ran behind her, dragging his coat sleeve. I smiled big and asked how their day was. Nora said school was fine, and Jacob said he had a sticker. I asked if anyone was mean to them. Nora said no. Then she asked why Dad looked sad lately. I told her Dad was tired from work. I said adults had stress, and Dad was just sensitive. Nora looked out the window and did not answer. I told myself kids forgot things fast. I did not want to believe they remembered tone. When we got home, Ethan was not there yet. I gave the kids snacks and turned on a show. I used the quiet to scroll through messages. Talia had sent a link to the fundraiser page and said we should show up and sparkle. Daisy sent a voice note saying she hoped Ethan would not act weird in public again. Miles had sent a short message asking if I missed him. I did not answer Miles, but I did not delete it either. I like seeing it. Ethan arrived as the sun started to drop. He came in, set his keys down, and asked how pickup went. I said it was fine, but Nora asked questions because he had been moody. He asked what Nora asked. I said it did not matter, and he should stop making the kids feel tension. He said he was trying to keep things calm for them. I said calm was not the same as happy, and he never made me happy. Ethan asked if I could stop saying never because it made everything feel impossible. I said it was not my job to make him comfortable with the truth. He asked what truth I meant. I said the truth was he ruined my life little by little. I said it like I was reading from a script I loved. He looked at me for a long second. Then he asked if we could keep the fundraiser peaceful for the kids. I said yes, but I said it with a tone that meant no. He did not argue. He walked to the sink and washed his hands like he was preparing for something. Before we left, I saw him open his phone and check something. I caught a glimpse of a list of reminders, but he tilted the screen away. I told myself he was hiding. I told myself that meant he was wrong. I needed him to be wrong. Right now, I know I build reasons like walls. At the community hall, the parking lot was full. People carried trays of baked goods and raffle baskets. A banner hung near the door with bright letters. Inside, it smelled like soup and sugar and warm air. Kids ran between folding chairs. Adults stood in clusters and talked too loud. Talia spotted me and waved like I was a celebrity. She hugged me and asked if Ethan came. I said yes, and I said it with a tired laugh, like I was carrying him. Daisy arrived behind Talia and asked if I was okay. I said I was fine, and Ethan was the one who made things hard. Ethan walked in with the kids. He held Jacob's hand and carried Nora's coat. He nodded at people and kept his face polite. I could feel eyes on us. I liked that. I wanted attention, but I wanted it in my favor. A woman from the committee asked how married life was going. She said it like a joke, but I took it as an opening. I said things were hard because Ethan drained the joy out of everything. I said he made the house feel like a rule book. The woman laughed awkwardly. Talia laughed louder, like it was a punchline. Daisy added that Ethan was so serious and that I deserved fun. Ethan heard. He did not react fast. He walked closer and asked if we could not talk about private things here. He asked it softly. I turned toward him and said he was trying to silence me again. He said he was not silencing me. He was asking for respect. I said respect was earned, and he never earned it because he never made me feel alive. A few heads turned. I saw a teenager lift a phone, like they were filming the raffle table, but I knew it was also us. That made my stomach jump, but it also made me feel powerful. If people saw me standing up to him, I thought I would win. Ethan said he did not want an argument. He asked if we could focus on the kids and the fundraiser. I said he always tried to look like the good guy in public. He asked what I wanted him to do. I said I wanted him to admit he ruined my life. He looked at me like he did not recognize me. Nora stood near the cookie table and watched us. Jacob tugged at Ethan's sleeve and asked for a drink. Ethan said yes and walked with him to the drink station, calm and slow. That calm made my words look sharp. I did not like that. Talia pulled me aside and said Ethan was acting like a saint. She said we should not let him win the room. I said he already won too much in our life, and I was done being small. Daisy said I should say it louder, because if I whispered, people would think I was guilty. So I kept going. When Ethan returned, I said he used the kids as props to look innocent. He asked how I could say that when he was just getting Jacob water. I said he always turned simple things into proof he was perfect. He said he was not trying to be perfect. He said he was trying to be steady. Then I heard a soft beep. It was small, like a notification tone, but it sounded close. I looked around and saw Ethan's phone sitting on a shelf near the coat hooks, screen down. He was not holding it. He was not pointing it at me. Still, that beep landed inside my head like a stone. I asked if he was recording me. He said he was not trying to start a fight. He said he only wanted to remember what was said, because everything got twisted later. I laughed and told him he was paranoid. I said if he had to record his wife, then he was the problem. He did not answer. He only picked up the phone and put it in his pocket. For the rest of the night, I felt a new kind of heat under my skin. I smiled at people and helped with tickets, but I watched Ethan more than I watched the event. He stayed near the kids. He did not drink. He did not speak badly about me. He just nodded, thanked people, and kept moving like he had a plan. On the drive home, Ethan asked if we could please stop doing this in public. He asked it like a request, not a threat. I said he should stop acting like a victim. He said he did not feel like a victim. He felt tired. I said he was tired because he refused to change. He said he could not change if I only attacked. I told him that was his excuse. At home, I put the kids to bed. Nora asked if we were mad at Dad. I said Dad was just sensitive, and it was not her job to worry. Nora said she did worry anyway. I told her she was overthinking like her father. When the house got quiet, Ethan went to the hallway calendar and wrote something in neat letters. I asked what he was writing. He said it was just a reminder. I walked closer after he stepped away. It said, "Meeting, personal with a time and nothing else." I stood there and stared at it, trying to make it mean something that helped me. I told myself he was planning against me, so my behavior was justified. I went to bed with that thought like a blanket, even though it did not keep me warm. The week after the fundraiser felt louder, even when the house was quiet. Ethan stopped trying to solve my mood. He did not follow me from room to room. He did not ask 10 questions. He did the kids' routines and kept his voice low. That calm should have made things easier. For me, it made things worse, because I could not fight a person who did not swing back. On Tuesday, my mum called and asked if we were coming to the family dinner on Friday. She said the restaurant had a big table, and it would be nice for everyone to be together. I said yes right away, because I wanted an audience. I told myself family dinners were for bonding. Really, I wanted witnesses. Friday came fast. At work, Carmen asked if I could stay late next week for a campaign rollout. I said yes. She asked if home was stable. I said it was fine, and I laughed like it was silly to ask. Talia heard and leaned in. She asked if Ethan was still doing the quiet act. I said he was acting like a saint now, like he wanted a medal for being basic. Talia said I should not fall for it. I nodded like she was giving wisdom. Miles texted around lunch and asked if I wanted to meet for 10 minutes after work. I said I could not today because of dinner, but I told him maybe tomorrow. He replied that he missed me. I stared at that line longer than I should. I told myself it was not a real relationship. I told myself it was just a place to put my stress. At home, I got ready for dinner while Ethan helped Nora with homework. He asked Nora what she had to read. She said it was a chapter about planets. Ethan asked what she learned. She said Saturn had rings. Ethan smiled and said he liked Saturn too. I heard that and felt a strange sting, like the kids belonged to him more than me in that moment. Ethan asked me what time we needed to leave. I said he could check the message from my mom if he cared so much. He said he was only trying to be on time. I said, being on time did not make a marriage good. He asked what would make it good for me. I said he should stop acting like my happiness was a math problem. He looked at me and asked if I wanted him to come to dinner, or if I wanted to go alone. I said of course he should come, because I was not hiding anything. I said it loud, like it was proof. He nodded and said okay. At the restaurant, the long table was already full. My mum, Sharon, sat at the head like a queen. My sister Daisy sat close to her. Ruth and Glenn, Ethan's parents, were on the other side with careful faces. The kids sat between chairs, like they were small bridges nobody wanted to step on. My mum hugged me and asked if I was eating enough because I looked thin from stress. I said I had been stressed because Ethan made home feel heavy. Ethan took a seat and asked how everyone was. Sharon answered him with a tight smile and asked if he was still so serious. Ethan said work was busy and he tried to keep balance. Sharon said balance sounded boring. Daisy asked Ethan if he was still doing his calendar rules. Ethan asked what she meant. Daisy said he liked schedules more than people. Ethan said schedules helped kids feel safe. Daisy rolled her eyes and said kids also needed fun. I laughed because it felt like Daisy was on my team. The waiter came and asked what we wanted. Ethan asked Nora what she wanted. She said pasta. Ethan asked Jacob. He said fries. I said I wanted a salad, but I said it like a statement of control. Sharon asked if Ethan would allow dessert later. I smiled and said Ethan did not allow anything because he was not in charge of me. Ethan looked at me and asked if we could please not talk like that in front of the kids. I said he was proving my point again, trying to police my words. He said he was not policing, he was asking for respect. I told him respect follows results, and he had no results. I said he had a job and a routine and nothing else. I said it like I was giving a speech. Ruth's face changed. She put her napkin down and asked me to lower my voice. I said I was only being honest. Glenn asked if we could keep dinner calm. I said calm was what Ethan used to hide behind. Ethan asked me, softly, what I wanted from him right now. I said I wanted him to admit he ruined my life. The table went quiet for a second. The kids stared at their plates. Nora's shoulders lifted like she was bracing for a storm. Sharon broke the silence and said I had sacrificed my best years for a man who never made me feel seen. Daisy nodded and said I deserved excitement. Talia was not there, but I could hear her voice in my head cheering me on. I felt strong again. Ethan did not shout. He did not slam his hand. He only said he was sorry I felt that way, and he wanted to talk privately later. I laughed and said he always wanted privacy because he hated when people saw the real him. Ruth looked at Ethan like she was embarrassed for me, not for him. That made me angry, so I pushed harder. I said Ethan acted perfect in front of others and cold at home. He asked what cold meant. I said he did not chase me or fight for me. He said he did not want to fight because the kids were there. I said he used the kids as an excuse for everything. Glenn told me to stop. I said Glenn was biased because he raised Ethan. We ate, but it did not feel like eating. It felt like waiting. Ethan cut Jacob's food and wiped a little sauce from Nora's cheek. He did it gently. My mum watched Ethan and still did not soften. She asked Ethan if he ever thought he might be the reason I was unhappy. Ethan said he thought about it a lot. He said he also thought choices mattered. Sharon said choices sounded like blame. Ethan said blame was not helpful, but reality still existed. After dinner, in the parking lot, Daisy asked if I was okay. I said yes, and I said Ethan needed to hear it. Daisy said she was proud of me for speaking up. Ruth walked past us and said goodbye to the kids with a careful voice. She did not look at me long. Ethan thanked Glenn and Ruth for dinner. Glenn said he hoped we could all cool down. Ethan said he hoped so too. On the way home, Ethan stopped at the supermarket because we needed milk. He asked if I wanted to come in or wait in the car. I said I would come because I was not going to be treated like a guest in my own life. Inside, the checkout line was slow. A woman in front of us counted coins. Ethan stood behind the cart and looked at a small list on his phone. I asked what he was doing. He said he was checking what we needed. I said he was acting like a single dad already. He looked at me and asked why I always had to turn simple moments into attacks. I said because simple moments with him felt like traps. At the register, the total was higher than I expected. Ethan asked if we should switch brands next time. I said he was cheap and that was why my life felt small. He said he was trying to be careful because bills were rising. I said if he made more money, we would not have to talk like that. He did not answer. He only paid and carried the bags. When we got home, the kids went to bed fast, tired from the heavy air. Ethan put groceries away in silence. I went to the hallway and saw his laptop open on the corner desk. The screen showed a clean row of folders, plain names like household and utilities. A small pop-up appeared in the corner that said a file had uploaded successfully. Ethan stepped in and closed the laptop with one smooth motion. I asked what he was uploading. He said he was backing up family documents in case the laptop broke. I said he never cared about backups before. He said he did now. I told him he was being secretive. He said he was being responsible. Later that night, I went to the drawer where we kept tax papers to prove something to myself. I wanted to find his secret. Under a thick folder, I saw a USB stick with a small label that had a date written on it. My fingers hovered over it. I did not take it. I told myself I did not care. I told myself Ethan was the one acting strange, so I was allowed to do what I did. Then my phone buzzed with a message from Miles, asking if tomorrow worked. I stared at the screen and felt the old rush return, like a door opening to a warmer room. The next day, I met Miles near the office tower lobby like it was an accident. I told myself it was harmless because it was daytime and we were not doing anything wrong. I said that word in my head like a shield. Miles asked if I was nervous. I said I was only tired. He asked if Ethan still acted cold. I said Ethan acted like a judge, not a husband. Miles said I deserved someone who chose me. I nodded like that meant something real. I went upstairs and worked like nothing happened. Carmen asked if I could present a few slides in the afternoon. I said yes. She asked if I was feeling better than last week. I said things were settling. I made my voice light. I wanted my life to sound neat. When the presentation ended, I checked my phone and saw Ethan had sent a short message. He asked if I could be home by 6 because Nora had a school note due and Jacob had a cough. I stared at the message and felt annoyed, like he was assigning me tasks. I replied that I would try. He asked what try meant. I said work was unpredictable and he should understand that. He did not argue. He sent another message that said, okay. I hated that, okay. It felt like he was stepping away on purpose. I left work later than I planned, but not because of work. I sat in my car in the parking garage and scrolled through photos from the fundraiser and dinner. In a few of them, I could see Ethan in the background with the kids. He looked calm. He looked like a man who could stand in a storm without moving. That made my chest tighten. At home, the driveway was half full of leaves. Ethan's car was parked straight, facing the street, like it was ready to leave fast. I told myself that was normal. I told myself he always parked like that. Still, I noticed it. Inside, the kids were in the living room with blankets. Jacob coughed into his elbow like Ethan taught him. Nora had papers spread out on the table, lined up like a project. Ethan asked if I could look at Nora's note. I said I just walked in, and he was already handing me problems. He said it was not a problem, it was just a school form. I said he loved forms more than feelings. He asked me to keep my voice down because Jacob was tired. I said he used the kids to control me. He said he was not controlling me, he was protecting the kids from stress. I laughed and told him stress was part of life, and maybe he should stop acting like a saint. Nora looked up from her papers and asked if we could please stop. I said we were not fighting. Ethan said we were not fighting, but our tone was sharp, and Nora could feel it. I told him he was putting ideas into her head. He said he did not need to. She was already noticing. Ethan asked Nora what she needed for the note. Nora said she needed a signature and the date. Ethan asked me to sign too. I asked why, like he was setting a trap. He said it was a parent form and both signatures helped. I signed, but I felt like I was being tested. After the kids went to bed, Ethan stood near the hallway and asked if we could talk. He said he wanted us to keep things steady for the kids. I said he only cared about looking steady. He asked what I wanted then. I said I wanted him to admit he ruined my life. He did not raise his voice. He asked what I meant by ruined. I said he took all the color out of my days. He asked how he did that in practical terms. I said he questioned me, watched me, and made me feel guilty for wanting anything. He said he asked questions because things stopped making sense. I told him he was paranoid and that his suspicion was the real problem. He asked if I was seeing someone. He asked it slowly, like he had practiced staying calm. I laughed and said he was insecure. He asked again, and he said he needed a real answer. I said he was acting like a cop and it was disgusting. He said he was not acting like anything. He was asking because he did not want lies in the house. I said he should worry about himself. I said if I pulled away, it was because he pushed me away first. He asked how he pushed me away when he cooked, cleaned, and stayed present with the kids. I said that was just tasks, and tasks were not love. He told me he did not want to fight. He said he wanted boundaries. He said if we could not speak with respect, he would step away when I started insulting him. I said that was abandonment. He said it was not abandonment It was self-control. I followed him down the hall and asked where he thought he was going. He said he would sleep in the guest room for now. I laughed and told him he was being dramatic to punish me. He said he was doing it to stop the cycle. He asked me to keep the bedroom calm for the kids in the morning. I said the kids were fine, and he was the one making it weird. He went into the guest room and closed the door. The click sounded small but final. I stood in the hallway with my arms crossed and told myself he was trying to scare me. I told myself he would come back when he missed me. Still, the air felt different, like a line had been drawn. The next morning, I woke up early and found Ethan in the kitchen. There were 2 mugs again, but they were on opposite sides of the counter. Ethan asked if I wanted to review the weekly schedule for the kids. I said he was treating me like a coworker. He said the kids needed consistency, and he was trying to avoid surprises. I said surprises were part of a real life, and he wanted life to be a spreadsheet. He did not react. He asked if I could commit to pick up on Thursday. I said I would see. He asked me to please give clear answers. I said he was demanding. He said he was asking for clarity because confusion hurt the kids. Then I noticed a new key on his keyring. It was small and silver, not like our house key. I asked what it was for. He said it was for storage. I asked why we needed storage. He said he was organizing things. I said he was hiding things again. He said he was not hiding, he was preparing. That word, preparing, made my skin prickle. I asked what he was preparing for. He said he was preparing for any outcome. I asked if he was threatening me. He said he was not threatening me. He said he was choosing to do things the right way. I tried to laugh it off. I told him he was overreacting, and I said he would regret acting cold. He looked at me for a long moment, calm like always. He asked me to stop rewriting reality. He said my choices were mine, and his choices were his. I told him he was the reason I looked elsewhere for kindness. I said he should blame himself. He did not take the bait. He only said he would not argue in circles anymore. He said if we needed help, we could get help, but he would not be shamed into silence. I asked what that meant. He said it meant he would handle it properly. The word properly landed in my chest like a weight. I wanted him to shout or cry, because then I could call him unstable. But he stayed calm, and I could not find a clean angle. I watched him rinse his mug and set it on his side of the counter, like he already lived in a different life. The courthouse lobby smelled like wet coats and printer paper. I told myself I should not be there. I told myself Ethan was being dramatic, and the system would see it. Ethan stood near a pillar with a plain folder in his hand. He did not look at me like he hated me. He looked tired, and that annoyed me more. Ruth was there with him, holding Nora's hand. Jacob sat on a bench with a small toy car. I said it was unfair to bring the kids near this place. Ethan's mother said the kids were only waiting for a ride after. I told myself she was lying. A woman in a dark suit walked up to Ethan and spoke to him in a low voice. Ethan nodded once. Then she turned to me and said she was Ethan's lawyer. She said she needed to confirm my name and give me documents. I said I did not want anything from them. She said it was still service and I could take them or not, but the record would show it happened. I said Ethan was doing this to punish me. Ethan said nothing. He only listened. Inside the courtroom, everything felt small. The judge asked questions in a calm voice. Ethan answered in short, clear sentences. His lawyer presented a timeline. She showed messages and dates. She showed photos and tagged posts where I mocked Ethan. She showed receipts from meals and rides that matched times I said I was working. She showed a school pickup log and my late-night excuses. I tried to explain that I was stressed and Ethan pushed me away. The judge asked for facts, not feelings. I said Ethan ruined my life. The judge asked what that meant in actions. I could not make it sound clean. I said my friends only joked. The lawyer said the jokes were repeated and public. I said the affair was not serious. The lawyer said it still affected trust and money. Then the judge ruled right there, temporary orders. Ethan would stay in the home for now. The joint accounts would be protected, and spending would be limited. The kids' primary weekly schedule would stay with Ethan for stability, with set times for me. I heard the words like they came from far away. Ethan did not smile. He only thanked the judge quietly. I stood up, holding papers I did not want, and I realized my story did not matter anymore.